Hello, people. Welcome back to the channel. Uh, yeah, I feel naked right now because I decided to shave off the goatee today. I can never decide if I want to ever. I don't need the headphones right now. Yeah, I'm so indecisive when it comes to if I whether or not I want to keep the beard or shave it off because I love to have a beard, but sometimes whenever I'm sleeping, it's a pain in the ass sleeping with a beard. At least for me. And I'm probably due for a haircut very soon. It's too dark in here. Let me turn on the big light. That's a little bit. So, yeah, and I need to get a fucking new chair because I'm sick of this all the time. The fucking squeaks. But that's the price you pay sometimes whenever you're doing YouTube shit or Twitch or whatever else. But yeah, I thought to myself, I didn't really feel like doing an album review today. And besides, the next Under the Radar episode's just going to be a massive episode anyways. So I thought to myself, you know what? Because of the success of the viewer response to the album versus album video, that I don't know why it's been skyrocketing the past 2 days. Like, when it first came out, it got up to like 30 views, which that's typically the standard for a lot of my videos. But then out of nowhere, and I can't wrap my head around how this is happening, but as of right now, let me actually refresh my studio page. We are nearing 600 views on that video, and I thank you guys for checking that video out, but holy shit. I was not expecting the response to it as far as the viewership goes. Not as many comments as I thought I would get, but still something there. What's up, Bass? So I figured in celebration and success of that video, how about we do another one with Make Me Choose Between Two Bands and Two Albums live. So that way, those who didn't get to send me suggestions for the video can ask them here on a stream. And think I'll be on here for at least 2 hours. I'm hoping, depending on who all is here and who all wants to send suggestions my way. We shall see. But yeah, I definitely am probably going to need a new haircut because my weird-ass hairline's back. Usually after I get a haircut, I shave a hairline so that way, like, this side matches this side. Because when you look at it, it's like it goes here and then that way. I don't know why I have the weirdest hairline in the history of hairlines, but what can you do? Ooh. But regardless of all that, but how is everybody doing? You know, like I said, I saw a boss in here, but yeah, I'm still kind of recovering from last night's hilarity on the Shadow Call podcast, where holy fucking comedy. Like, what the fuck was going on with me last night? And really everybody on the show for that matter. Because we were just going on and on with impressions. Like Chris Barnes and Krusty the Clown. They sound the same anyways. So, yeah. I was thinking of doing it solo, but if anybody wants to join in, I'll let you guys know. Troy, what's up? New sub and follower over on the Instagram side of things. Thank you very much. I'm just double checking a bunch of random garbage just to see what the hell is going down in Chinatown. What's up, Ryan? But yeah, so basically, like I said, this stream is in succession of the make me choose between two albums video. Figured give everybody a chance who didn't get to ask me whether it was on the band versus band or album versus album to send your matchups my way, and I will make difficult or easy choices, give or take, depending on what kind of devious questions all you motherfuckers have got for me. Oh boy, we're kicking things off with a doozy. Boss, Death or Megadeth? Two of my top 5 favorite bands of all time right here. I'm going to go Megadeth, only by a bit, because right now in my top 5 favorite bands of all time, Megadeth's my number 3 and Death's my number 5. So, yeah. Ryan, James LaBrie solo or Dream Theater? Do I even need to answer? It's Dream Theater. Well, I do plan on reviewing that James LaBrie solo album for the Under the Radar episode this week. Actually, a reminder of what's coming this week. Because I didn't do the review for the Evergrey album today, that's going to be put into Under the Radar. So Under the Radar this week's going to have a lot of things going on. And then this Thursday actually is going to be my Morbid Angel album ranking video. Kind of funny, the same week I'm doing Morbid Angel, Tuesday the Thralls of Metal are doing their Exodus ranking. So that's going to be an interesting week for everybody who watches both of our channels. Oh, now this is a tough one. Demolition Hammer or Power Trip? Oh, dear God. And despite Demolition Hammer having that one clunker with Time Bomb, their first 2 albums are fucking outstanding, brutal thrash, almost death thrash. And then Power Trip, of course, is Power Trip, Nightmare Logic. I'd probably go with Power Trip. Rest in peace, Riley. Can't believe he's gone. Can't believe it's been almost 2 years since he passed. Oh, World Coming Down or Altars of Madness? My favorite Typo Negative album versus my favorite my favorite Morbid Angel album. I'm going to take Altars just because I've listened to that one more compared to World Coming Down. I only just got into World Coming Down over the past several months, and I love it. Deathspell Omega or Blut aus Nord? Well, considering I've not listened to a full Blut aus Nord album until this week, whenever Under the Radar comes out, I'm going to listen to the new Blut aus Nord, whereas I've heard Deathspell Omega, and I like Deathspell Omega, so I'm going with Deathspell Omega, because they're just so chaotic for an avant-garde black metal band. They're just all over the map. They're kind of like, almost like the gore guts of black metal, almost. Or the ulcerate of black metal. Oh. You dirty, dirty man. Hard Work or Left Hand Path? Two of the best death metal albums ever. But I'm going Left Hand Path. Son of a... Nah. And I'm getting annoyed by this stupid chair. I need to get some WD-40 on this damn son of a bitch. Entombed or Dark Throne? As a band, Dark Throne. Though I need to listen to more than just the first 3 Entombed albums and Bowels of Earth from Entombed AD. I started listening to Morning Star and I didn't get around to finishing it, but I liked what I've heard so far. Really, the only Entombed albums I'm really going to go for is Uprising and Morning Star. Maybe Inferno after I check it out, and then Bowels of Earth from Entombed AD. Whereas, not getting DCLXVI, definitely not getting Same Difference. Definitely not getting Serpent Saints. I wasn't the biggest fan of Dead Dawn from Entombed AD. Maybe if I listen to it again, my opinion will change, and I haven't checked out Back to the Front. So there is that. In a little bit, boss. I kind of want to give time for more people to join in the chat, and then we'll bring in extra people. Maybe in like 20 minutes at like 8:30, considering I just started. But going back to this, whereas with Dark Throne, I love pretty much almost everything they've done except for Cult is Alive, Goat Lord, and some of Plague Wielder. I don't know. That's just me, of course. Joey, what's up? Don't like anything from Entombed post 95. Haven't been bothered with Entombed AD. Well, have you checked out Uprising and Morningstar? Because I've heard those two albums are fucking fantastic. And actually, I got through some of Morningstar before I had to leave for something, and I liked what I heard. It was like a death thrash album. And whereas Uprising's kind of like Wolverine Blues 2.0, but maybe a little bit better to some people. Vlad Tapes. Oh, you hitting me with a doozy here. Don't Break the Oath or Melissa. The first two Merciful Fate albums. For me, it's Don't Break the Oath, but Melissa is a great album. I actually need to get all the Merciful Fate albums. I only have Don't Break the Oath, and I feel like a fake fan of King Diamond to not have more than just one album, but I just end up getting caught up in other bands' discographies. I often forget about King Diamond and Merciful Fate as far as collection purposes. Oh, Crowbar or COC? Oh, Joey, leave my wife out of this. Oh, Joey, you goof. Anyways, but back to this. Crowbar or COC? Crowbar, next. Tapping the Vein or Human? Tapping the Vein. I just love that album so fucking much. Human's amazing too, but it's not my favorite Death album. I mean, sometimes it can be my favorite. The Death discography, like all 7 of their albums, could be my number 1 in all honesty. But Tapping the Vein, that's my number 2 Sodom album. And I've been such a fanboy of that album for a couple of years now. Ooh, Agent Orange or Coma of Souls. Ouch. Why do you insist on killing me, Troy? Agent Orange. Next. Ooh, Spiritual Healing or Screaming for Vengeance. That's not even fair, boss. That's not even fair. I have to go Screaming for Vengeance because it's fucking Judas Priest. Spiritual Healing's a phenomenal album, but fucking Screaming for Vengeance. My fucking eyelashes are killing me. I'll be right back. I don't know what's happening to me. Sometimes, for some odd reason, after I wake up every day, my eyelashes feel like they're stuck together or about to go into my eyeball. And it's annoying. But yeah, back to that. I have to go Screaming for Vengeance. I can't. I can't. Yeah, Spiritual Healing is underrated, but I mean, Screaming for Vengeance is Screaming for Vengeance, though. Fear of the Dark or Forever Free. I don't even know who did Forever Free. Let me find out who did that album. Oh, it was Saxon. Well, by default, because I've not heard of Forever Free, I have to go Fear of the Dark. Even though not the best Iron Maiden album, but certainly not a slouch. It's better than a lot of people give it credit for. Little spill. Ugh. But I mean, yeah, I need to dig more further into Saxon besides like the early albums and the later stuff. So, yeah. The Bleeding or Hard Work, God. I have to go with The Bleeding on that because I've listened to that album so many times and I love it every single time. I feel bad for that Hard Work hasn't gotten a win tonight in this whole shebang, but I mean, I'm basing this off of what I've listened to more, and that's The Bleeding. Diamond Head, Lightning to the Nations, or Angel Witch, Angel Witch. Ooh, we're getting classic new wave of British heavy metal here. Oh. And both of those albums have two of the best metal songs of all time. Angel Witch with the song Angel Witch, and then Diamond Head, Lightning to the Nations has Am I Evil. I'm probably going to go with Diamond Head, Lightning to the Nations by a bit. Iron Maiden or Motorhead. Again, that's not even fair. I have to go with Maiden. But sorry, shirt, but I have to go with Maiden. I'm sorry, Lemmy. I don't feel comfortable anymore. I really don't. I really don't feel comfortably. What the fuck am I talking about? The Fugitive. Yeah, that's a solid song for sure. Indeed, you are correct, Vlad. Meanwhile, boss, you better butter your bread. My elbow. Shit. That's an easy one. 80s Metallica. Without 80s Metallica, you wouldn't have had 90s Pantera. 90s Pantera is great, but it does not compare to 80s Metallica. Not by a long shot. Love Pantera, but you wouldn't have Pantera without a Metallica. 80s Pantera or Saint Anger. I'm only going 80s Pantera because at least Power Metal, that album, was actually really good. The first album with Phil, which I actually need to get at some point, the Power Metal album, at least that was really good, whereas the other 80s Pantera albums can go fuck off. And then Saint Anger, despite being the worst Metallica album, it's not the worst album in metal history like a lot of people have made it out to be over the years. In fact, I'll say it, it's aged well since it's come out for the simple fact there have been far worse albums to have come out since, like the Aluminum Anus by Morbid Angel, or fucking Catharsis, fucking anything Five Finger Death Punch has put out in the past 10 years. Immure, Attila, fucking Bullet for My Valentine, Temper. What the... So yeah, if anything, Saint Anger's the best worst album ever, if anything at all. Because there's still a few songs I do kind of go back to on Saint Anger because of the riffs. Because there are some great riffs on that album. It's just inconsistent and production was really weird. But yeah. That I would agree with that. Yeah, a handful of songs on power metal could have been on Cowboys. Oh, we have now hit rock bottom. The aluminum anus or the cathasis. I will gladly take Morbid Angel's aluminum anus because catharsis is not in I'm not speaking hyperbole when I say this, but catharsis may very well be the worst metal album ever made. I can't think of anything worse than catharsis. Like fucking 6 Feet Under's Nightmares of the Decomposed, infinitely better than catharsis. Fucking Bullet for My Valentine, Temper, infinitely better. Saint Anger, infinitely better. Hell, even Lulu, infinitely better. Aluminum Anus, infinitely better. Fucking Queensryche's Dedicated to Chaos, which is maybe the second worst metal album of all time, but still infinitely better than Catharsis. Catharsis is going to live in infamy of being a fucking turd in a fucking sandwich. And it's because of Catharsis, that's why I'm never listening to Machine Head ever again. And also, I can't stand Rob Flynn either. I think Rob Flynn's a total piece of shit. So, there you go. And somebody's out there probably saying, oh, tell us how you really feel. And speaking of The Blackening or Vulgar Display, The Blackening's good, but honestly, it just goes to further on that. I think Machine Head's one of the most overrated bands ever. Catharsis by a mile, I think. Allude is embarrassing compared to their other stuff. Catharsis is on par with their awful new metal period. I don't know if that's supposed to be sarcasm, but yeah. I would rather listen to Radicult than fucking Razorblade Smile, because Razorblade Smile is like the most horrible Lemmy tribute ever. That song's supposed to be a Lemmy tribute, and it's like, really? Lemmy would not want a fucking new metal song as a tribute to him. That's pathetic. But I don't want to talk about Catharsis anymore, otherwise I won't shut up. Yeah, it's bad. Saw Pantera on the Reinventing the Steel tour with Morbid Angel and Slayer. I thought it was I don't think Slayer was on that tour. Wasn't it Soulfly? Yeah, it was Soulfly. Yeah, Soulfly, Morbid Angel, Pantera. Yeah, fucking Phil on the tour sang Day of Suffering with Morbid Angel, which was so cool from the videos I've seen on YouTube. And even Steve Tucker's, apparently, according to the guys over at Thralls, because they played in Toledo, they saw Steve Tucker come out and say, well, we're a little bit heavier, and I know why you guys are here, and Pantera's great, and this has been a great tour, but we're what you call death metal. Violent Restitution or Violence Unimagined. Very violent choice here. I have Violent Restitution, but I'm not as familiar with that album as I am with Evil Invaders by Razor, whereas if Violence Unimagined is probably the best Cannibal Corpse album since Torture, so I'm going Violence Unimagined. Maybe if I listen to Violent Restitution more, I'll probably pick it, but I think for me the best Razor album is Evil Invaders, for me at least. The birthday boy Mike is here. Wish it, motherfucker. Oh, hang on. Where is the... And Ben's here. What's up, Ben? All right. Back to the choices. Annihilator or Razor? I'd probably go with, based on consistency, I would probably go Razor, Because at least from like their first album through Shotgun Justice, it was all great. Whereas Annihilator have that reputation of like a couple of good albums and a meh album in between. But yeah, and then you had like Carnival Diablos in 2001, which actually I need to get that album from Annihilator because that's was around the same time of like Sodom M16 and Creator's Violent Revolution. So, yeah. Demolition or Supercharger, which is more cringe? Easily Supercharger. Demolition's got a couple of jams on it. And Supercharger, probably the second worst Machine Head album ever. So, yeah. Oh, God. Not answering that. We're not here about that, Mike. If you want to know the answer, go back to last night. Well, you were here last night because you were pissing yourself, laughing at the stupidity from us on the Shadow Cult. Yeah, I don't know what the fuck we were thinking. And my phone decided to laugh at me. Ooh, throwing out these ones. Iron Maiden Virtual 11 or Judas Priest Demolition. Oh, God. I'd probably would go with Iron Maiden Virtual 11, at least because of the song The Klansman is a great song, especially when Bruce sings it. Was that on Virtual 11? I'm pretty sure that song was on Virtual 11. Let me go to the Metal Archives. Virtual 11. Yeah, I was right. The Klansman. Yeah. Yeah, it was on Virtual 11. So I was right. Painkiller or Power Slave? I mean, I did that one in the video, but since I guess you haven't seen it yet, Power Slave. Even though Painkiller is my favorite Priest album, Power Slave's my favorite Maiden album. Gojira or Opeth? Easily Opeth. I love Gojira, but Opeth is Opeth. So, yeah. And plus, I wasn't the biggest fan of the new Gojira album. It was really good, but it wasn't like absolutely fantastical, at least for me. So, Venom or Bathory? Venom only has like a short window of material that I like, which is like the first 3 or 4 albums, whereas Bathory, really everything besides 2 albums were awesome. So I'd go with Bathory. The Conjuring or The Ripper? Oh, or songs? I mean, I wasn't doing songs, but probably The Ripper. Ooh, Ace, you dirty, dirty fucker. Rust in Peace or Rain in Blood, huh? Oh. I am stuck. Rust in Peace. That one hurt. Watershed or Leviathan? Oh, God. Now you're pinning Opeth and Mastodon against each other on me? Oh, why? Probably going with Leviathan. I love Watershed, but Leviathan's probably my second favorite Mastodon album. You'll find out in the rankings at some point. But yeah. Weird Al or Zappa? what, what kind of comparison is that? It's weird, but I like that it's weird. No pun intended. I probably would, personally for me, I would go with Weird Al. So, yeah. Rain and Blood or Bonded by Blood? Rain and Blood. Easily. Bonded by Blood's my favorite Exodus album, but Rain and Blood's Rain and Blood. Halford solo or Ozzy solo? That's not fair to Halford because Halford's solo isn't nearly as gigantic, so I have to go with Ozzy. Like everything from Blizzard of Oz through No More Tears is almost perfect. Halford, it's like the first couple, especially the debut, was great, but then after that, it's like Halford's solo kind of tapered off almost immediately for me. Seasons in the Abyss or South of Heaven? Seasons in the Abyss. South of Heaven's great, but Seasons in the Abyss. Ghost or Mastodon? Really? Really? It's got to be Mastodon. And I like Ghost, but Mastodon's one of my all-time favorites, so it has to go Mastodon. Not even a contest. Oh, hang on. Yeah, War of Words is great. I was talking about the Halford band, not Fight, but I mean, if he was to have included Fight, then then it helped Halford solo a little bit, but still it wouldn't have beaten Ozzy for me. Autopsy or Carcass? Carcass. For me, Autopsy, like first two and to a lesser extent first three albums, and then their recent material was great, and then you had a couple of here and there. Whereas Carcass, I think every Carcass album's good to outstanding. Korn's self-titled or Faith No More debut? Ooh. That's kind of tough because like Faith No More's debut wasn't that great. They didn't really hit their stride until the second album, Introduce Yourself, and then especially on The Real Thing, whereas Korn's self-titled still has some songs I can go back and enjoy if I'm in the mood. I'd probably go with Korn. Oh, God, I feel gross now saying that. Fear Factory or Cannibal Corpse? It's got to be Cannibal Corpse. I do enjoy Fear Factory, but they don't beat Cannibal Corpse for me. Autopsy or Cryptopsy? The Battle of the Topsies. Odd or Crip? Oddtopsy or Cryptopsy? Probably go with Autopsy on this one. Just because, like, Mental Funeral is amazing. None So Vile would be up there, too, but yeah. Come on, Mike. Why are you doing that to Dream Theater? Debut or 2112? It's 2112 by a landslide. Man. Mike, what's wrong with you? Motorhead or Iron Maiden? I think I already did this one. I'm trying to go back through the scroll. Yeah, I've done this one already, and I picked Maiden. War of Words or Jugulator? Ooh. Ouch. Probably go with War of Words. Yeah. Yeah, I would go War of Words. Jugulator's not bad. It's actually a solid album for what it is, but yeah. Oh, dear God. This is where I die. Leprosy or Cause of Death? Why? Leprosy. Oh my. Cause of Death, I love Cause of Death so much. That's like one of my top 5 favorite death metal albums ever, but I don't think you would have had a Cause of Death without a Leprosy, so oh, damn it. Why did I do that? Saint Anger or Chocolate Starfish and the hot dog flavored water. Oh, God. It's just out of principle, Saint Anger. Oh, jeez. Wait, did Nuclear Assault have a self-titled? Otherwise, I'm not going to be able to answer that. Did they have a self-titled? No, they didn't. So that question don't count. Sorry, Mike. Ooh. Beneath the Remains or Arise. The battle of the two best Sepultura albums. For me, it's Arise. I just like the more diverse songwriting on that album, whereas Beneath the Remains is a fucking classic, but I do like how Arise managed to break up the constant speed with some groove and some melody. Though Beneath the Remains, I love it for it being like straight down the line, just fast brutality. But I like Arise's production more, and also I like the diverse songwriting more as well, and the more melodic side. Immolation or Incantation? Oh, God. I might as well fucking flip a coin on this one. I really might as well flip a coin. Because it could change given the day. Right now, I'm going to go with Incantation, but it can easily change on a whim. They're both equal to me. I mean, tomorrow I could say Immolation. Right now I'm saying Incantation, but that can change at any moment because they're both equally great. Really? Spice Girls or Beyonce? Well, fuck Beyonce, so I'll go to Spice Girls. Slayer's new the Diabolus and Musico or Chocolate Starfish. They both have 2 songs that are worth anything. Diabolus has Bitter Peace and Stain of Mind. Chocolate Starfish has Boiler and Rollin'. Rollin' only because of wrestling nostalgia. I probably would go with Slayer. Ugh. Anyways. Megadeth, Super Collider, or Saint Anger? Saint Anger. Because Super Collider's fucking terrible except for one song, Kingmaker. So there you go. Ooh. Ouch. Testament, The Legacy, or Creator, Pleasure to Kill. Again, going by what I listen to more, The Legacy. Though Pleasure to Kill is fucking phenomenal, and that's my favorite Creator album. The Legacy is my one of my go-to Testament albums. And I wish my eyelash would quit bothering me. Starfish, Hot Dog, or Nightmares of the Day. Now you guys are just getting out of hand with the terrible ones. I'll actually go Limp Bizkit on this. I'll actually go Limp Bizkit. Fuck it. Warfuck or Goat Whore? Never heard of Warfuck, so I have to go with Goat Whore by default. Anyways, Evil or Havoc? Evil for me. I don't think you would have had Havoc without Evil, to me at least. Green Jelly or Primus? Ooh. The battle of 2 goofball bands. I would have to go with Primus, just because Les Claypool's a fucking beast on the bass. Dynasty or Let There Be Rock? Fucking Let There Be Rock. Dynasty, fuck that. Yeah, I Was Made for Loving You Babies on there, and that's a catchy disco song, but come on, AC/DC Let There Be Rock blows Dynasty out of the water. Easily. Now we get into AC/DC territory here. Highway to Hell or High Voltage? I'd probably would go with Highway to Hell. Ooh. Maiden self-titled or Angel Witch self-titled? While the Maiden self-titled isn't my favorite Maiden album, it'd be like middle of the pack for me. I would still probably go with Maiden self-titled just because you have the song Iron Maiden, Remember Tomorrow, Charlotte the Harlot, Phantom of the Opera. Yeah. Possess Seven Churches or Massacre from Beyond. Ooh, that's a lot tougher because I do love both of those albums. But again, going through the case of what I've listened to more, early on it was Seven Churches. In recent times, it's been From Beyond. But if I were to go right down the middle of which I think is better, probably would go with Seven Churches. Even though I love From Beyond, and that's really the only good Massacre album. Yeah. Electric Wizard or Saint Vitus? Saint Vitus. Not the biggest fan of Electric Wizard. Then again, I need to dig deeper into them. Whereas Saint Vitus, fucking love the first self-titled and Born Too Late. Those are great. Razor's Edge or Sad Wings of Destiny? Sad Wings of Destiny, not even a contest. Ooh, this one's even tougher. From Beyond or Consuming Impulse? And they're both kind of similar in terms of like the more thrashy side of death metal. Probably go with Consuming Impulse. Yeah, we can do musician versus musician. Fuck it, why not? Them or Dark Side of the Moon? It's not even fair to King Diamond. It has to be Pink Floyd. Dying Fetus or Cattle Decapitation? Ooh. This is a matchup I see common, or that's very common amongst these kind of videos or streams. I like the current run of Cattle Decap, but I think Dying Fetus is much more consistent, so I'm going Dying Fetus. Ow. Smashing Pumpkins or Bush? Smashing Pumpkins. Candlemass self-titled or Trouble's debut? I'm not listening to Candlemass as self-titled, and I have listened to Psalm 9, so I'd have to go with Psalm 9. SOD or MOD? SOD, easily. Bon Scott or Lemmy? Oh, you dirty son of a bitch birthday boy. Ugh. Lemmy. That one pained me. Ow. Vinnie Paul or Danny Carey? Ooh, two great drummers. While I prefer Vinnie Paul, if I'm going to be objective, it'd have to be Danny Carey. Spinal Tap or Sex Pistols? Spinal Tap. Not a big punk fan. Morgoth or Vader? That's not even... Morgoth has really like 3 good releases. Their first 2 EPs and Cursed. So it'd have to go Vader. Depends on which song is more brutal. Skullfucked or Forced Gender Reassignment. That's true. Which is more brutal? Probably Skullfuck, just because it's more of an actual brutal death metal song. I don't know. That could change on a whim. I could go Forced Gender Reassignment, but I like Skullfuck because of the over-the-top comedy in it. Fred Durst or Barnes? I'm only going to go with Chris Barnes just because he was in Cannibal Corpse for a while and it was legendary stuff. But yeah. And then Barnes versus Corpse Grinder. Corpse Grinder. Malcolm Young or Keith Richards? I'm going to go Malcolm Young because I'm not really a big fan of Rolling Stones. Phil Rudd or Lars? The battle of two pocket guys. For me, Lars, just because he can play faster and he can play different stuff despite the more basic structure, I still would go with Lars because Phil Rudd still just does the same pocket stuff all the time. Ooh, Cliff Burton or Les Claypool? Cliff. Vader versus Big Van Vader versus Darth Vader. What the hell? This is a question I think Scott would appreciate. If you're here, Scott, I hope you appreciate this one. Probably go with the band Vader, then Big Van, then Darth. I'm not a huge Star Wars guy, so there you go. Cliff Burton or Steve Harris? As much as I love Cliff, I'd have to go with Steve Harris. Oh, now we're just getting absolutely bonkers here. Let's cool off on the bonkers. The Rock versus Rocky Balboa versus Rocky from SpongeBob. I'm going to go Rocky from SpongeBob just because fuck you. I don't know what the hell I would pick from that. All three were great in their own right. Rocky on SpongeBob just because he won a snail race and he was a rock. Rocky Balboa because who doesn't love the Rocky movies? And then The Rock because fucking The Rock. So, yeah. Phil Taylor or Nico McBrain? Nico McBrain. I love Phil, Filthy Phil, but Nico is a much more complete drummer. Oh, I lost track of time. Fuck. I was going to bring in people for this. Boss, if you're still wanting to hop on in, feel free. Actually, well... oh, hang on. Wrong link. Real quick. Stevie Richards, Stevie Nicks, or Steve Austin. It's Steve Austin. Come on. What is happening here? We've now completely lost the plot of this whole fucking shebang. I don't know what the hell is happening here. Oh, dear Lord. I'm taking me a nap. Oh, geez, we got a massive match. Ozzy or Dio or Dickinson or Halford or Brian Johnson. Dickinson. That hurt. Fuck. Floyd. Hey, boss, what's up?
What's up? Yeah, I just saw the Ozzy Dio. I mean, I love all of those guys, I really do, but come on, it's Halford. It's Rob. I mean, Priest is my favorite band of all time, and Rob is the metal god. I was being brutal with those ones, too.
You really were.
Jesus.
Dio, Halford, Brian Johnson, or Lemmy. Now, out of those four, Halford.
If I had to rank him, it would be Halford,
Dio, Johnson, then Lemmy.
No, I like.
Well, in terms of all in all singers,
I do
That's
like
how I
Brian
would-
Johnson, but it's Halford, Dio, then Lemmy. Even though the two of them could be very interchangeable, because I love Dio and Motorhead's one of my favorites of all time.
Mhm.
Dude, I watched your I watched that stream last night.
Oh, put her in the bag. I still can't get over that. Where's my lawyer? Why am I here?
Your Barnes Nation is beautiful.
I was. Oh God!
I will
doing
legit
that.
watch your ones with like the brutal death metal ones. That's one of my favorites. With like you made me listen to the Saw's the Law with the chainsaws going off. I do like the Better Off Dead one, but the chains. Oh no!
The extended version where it's a little bit
Yeah.
more groovy, and longer. Let's see. Oh
My
God!
God.
Ozzy
Okay, that's
Solo or Dio Sabbath?
That's kind of not fair because technically there's 4 Dio Sabbath albums, but if you want to be the big nerd, there's actually 3, but there's actually 4 if you count Heaven and Hell. I do like some of the Ozzy Solo, but I got to go with Dio Sabbath because, I mean, good Lord, like Heaven and Hell is one of the best albums. Mob Rules is a pretty good album, and Dehumanizer, I really love that album too. Ozzy's later solo albums are very hit and miss with me. Even though I do like Black Rain, I actually think that's a pretty solid album. I gotta go Dio Sabbath. Only due to the fact that it's Ronnie James Dio. I mean, yeah, Ozzy did have Randy Rhoads for a few albums, and then even Geezer was on a few albums. But I can't... It's Dio, dude.
This one cuts me down even more. Only because there was more and there was a streak of great ones. I'm going Ozzy Solo.
Yeah,
just because the first, like from Blizzard through No More Tears, that's like a perfect run. And then yeah, Sabbath, Dio, yeah, like Heaven and Hell, Mob Rules, and Dehumanizer are great. Not the biggest fan of Devil You Know though, but
I love that.
Then again, Dehumanizer's one of my top 10 favorite Sabbath albums. But I mean, Blizzard through No More Tears, that's not fair to Dio, honestly, because those 6 albums are like perfect. Oh, Hard Work or Necroticism. I finally Hard Work's gonna get a win. I love Necroticism, but Hard Work pretty much took what Necroticism started and perfected it.
I actually want to listen to more Carcass because I did listen to Torn Arteries. That was my 3rd favorite album of last year. I love that album.
That's a great one.
Amazing.
Though I still think Surgical Steel was still better, but
yeah,
that's just me.
I mean, the song titles are absolutely amazing too.
Oh, John Bonham or Neil Peart?
Neil Peart.
Both are legends. May they rest in peace. But if we're talking overall ability, it's Neil. Though Bonham's a great pocket guy, and he can certainly move his way around the kit too. And granted, Peart was inspired by Bonham, but I think Peart's a better drummer overall.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Oh, that's not fair. I haven't listened to Dark Angel, even though I am a huge simp for Mr. Gene Hoglan. But, dude, Helloway is one of the best Slayer albums of all time. It's their most evil by far. I really want to get into Dark Angel, too. That's a sad thing, because I heard that their stuff is absolutely phenomenal.
It's not fair to Dark Angel, because even though Darkness Descends is a classic, Hell Awaits is Hell Awaits. That's my personal favorite Slayer album. Even though Rain and Blood's objectively a better album, Hell Awaits is my personal favorite. So.
That's my number.
Yeah, that's my number 3 as well.
Number 4 for me.
Magica or Dehumanizer? It's
Dehumanizer.
gotta be Dehumanizer.
I mean, I haven't heard
The
all
heaviest Sabbath album, for crying out loud.
I mean, dude, that guitar tone, it's probably on par with their most doomiest.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Computer God, Time Machine.
Too Late, Buried Alive, Sins of the Father, TV Crimes, After All the Dead.
TV Crimes, that music video is so funny.
Zakk Wylde with Ozzy or solo?
With Ozzy. I'm not really a big Zakk Wylde guy, if I'm going to be honest. I don't know. He sounds like...
I love Zack's guitar playing. He's a fucking hell of a guitarist. Vocals sounds too similar to Ozzy for my
He's got
take.
He's got the Ozzy like crew, but in all honesty, he kind of sounds like a grunge vocal.
He almost sounds like if Ozzy and Eddie Vedder had a baby. I'd say that's the way, but I don't mind it. But I'd go with him and him with Ozzy because No Rest for the Wicked and No More Tears. Enough said.
I mean, No More Tears is one of my favorite Ozzy songs too.
Kerry King or Kiko from Megadeth? Well, if we're going by
Kerry.
I'm actually going to go with Kiko just because he's a much better guitarist than Kerry.
Well,
even though Kerry's written some great. Well, actually, if it was Jeff Hanneman against Kiko, I probably would have went with Jeff Hanneman because Hanneman's a better riff writer and much better soloist than Kerry. Because Kerry, it's all the all the time.
Yeah,
and while that's fitting for Slayer, it can get annoying after a bit.
Yeah.
Whereas Kiko, I mean, coming from Angra, which is like really cool neoclassical prog power metal, that's some crazy stuff.
And I've always had an argument with people. They're like, well, you say you don't like Megadeth and why? Megadeth is so infuriating for me because the musicianship is absolutely phenomenal. The thing that kills me is Dave's vocals. I cannot like Dave's vocals. There are times I do, like his growls I kind of like, but whenever he does it, it gets so annoying. Like, Unholy Wars of Punishment Due, like, musically, that is one of the best songs in thrash, but musically, just, oh my god, it gets annoying, like, after 5 seconds.
Tom Araya or Chuck Billy?
That's not fair.
I'd have to. That has to go Chuck because he's a better melodic vocalist.
Okay.
And great growler too. Where Tom, he does the high. Well, he used to do the high screams really well.
Me, Tom.
Like Angel of Death, but Chuck, in terms of overall singers,
he does really good on Kill Again too.
But in terms of overall singers, it'd have to be Chuck.
If we're talking later on, I would obviously go Chuck, but early on, I would definitely go Araya. I think he just has, when he does like the mid-tempo stuff, like kind of like melodic stuff, I actually really like it. But Chuck is a better growler, and he's got that, like, his roars are just absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah.
Especially in the modern era. I gotta go, Randy.
Yeah.
Rest in peace to both of them. They both died so tragically and so young. Especially Randy. That one was just so heartbreaking. I gotta go Randy, though.
Oh, Dime or Marty? Now I go Dime. Even though Marty, you could technically say he's technically a better player.
Yeah.
But if we're going based off of riff writing, it's easily Dime.
Here's the thing.
Because Marty's more about the solos rather than riffs.
Yeah, because I
whereas
feel like
Dime can do both.
I feel like Dime's solos are very similar to me. I don't know. I just feel like they're very formulaic and similar. Whereas Marty, he's like going all over the place. But yeah, I mean, it sucks that Dimebag's no longer with us. But I mean, the only solo I really like from Dimebag is the one he did on Voodoo from King Diamond. I think that's a really cool solo.
Eddie Vedder or Eddie Osborne. Or Ozzy Vedder versus Eddie Osborne. Next, Four-way: Alice in Chains, Soundgarden,
Alice in
Pearl Jam.
Chains.
Alice in Chains, easily.
I mean, Dirt is one of the best albums of all time.
Yeah. Shadows Fall or Death Clock. That's actually kind of hard because, like, Shadows Fall had a great, consistent run, and then they just stopped making albums 10 years ago. And I love Death Clock, but I'm actually going to go with Death Clock.
I'm going Death Clock just because of Mr. Gene Hoglan. I really
and Brendan Small's got a solid growl to him. So
yeah, that too.
Oh God! And I already see the next one, and this is going to kill me. John Tardy or Martin Van Drunen. That's tough because they're both so similar.
I just did an obituary retrospective too. Here's the thing: Martin Van Drunen's got that really raspy, like, growl, and John Tardy's more over the top, like
no.
Chopped in half. I actually did listen. I listened to all their albums, and I really like all their albums. Maybe except Back from the Dead. I feel like that album was very kind of weak. But dude, Circle of the Tyrants, that is an amazing cover. That's an awesome cover. And Martin Drunen is
Martin. There were times where his vocals were kind of inconsistent, like in the mid '90s, but like him on Consuming Impulse from Pestilence, and then later Asphyx, so close in terms of his style. And even the first Pestilence album, where he's more thrashy, he had a cool thrash bark and could do high notes.
Yeah.
But that's hard because they're both so similar. But
I'm only going to go with Tardy because I've listened to Obituary more, but I will definitely listen to Asphyx later on.
And early Pestilence, yeah.
And early Pestilence, too. I heard that the singer that replaced them, Patrick, isn't really that good, so.
Yeah. I don't know. I'd probably going to go with Tardy, but like if I were to rank the top 5 death metal vocalists, they'd be like 2 and 3.
Yeah, that's true.
Behind Chuck. So
I mean, he just turned 55 the other day. Yeah, he turned 55.
He would have been 55, yeah.
Man,
Cliff or Randy?
Oh, damn it. I gotta go Cliff.
Yeah.
Cliff Burton.
Here's a funny one. Napster Lars or Barnes Volcano Insurance?
Oh my God. Okay, Napster Lars only because Napster was really trying to screw everyone over, and yet Lars.
They really were. And Lars was doing the right thing.
To be the bad guy because he was sticking up for people.
Yeah,
that's one of the few reasons why I defend Metallica. I mean, dude, they're trying to take away the music that they were selling you. And you're going to defend the guy, you're going to bash the guy that was defending you? That just seems kind of stupid to me. And, yeah. I mean, Barnes is Barnes. So.
Mm-hmm. Kanye West or Gene Simmons, who would you rather have to deal with?
Okay.
Can I just chop my dick off and get it over with and not meet either of them?
If you had a gun to my head, I would say Gene, only because he had some talent. But dude, when you talk about people that, you know, you think you have the biggest cock in the world, and you want to say, oh, people that have depression should just kill themselves, and that's coming from somebody that has depression. Yeah, no, I'm sorry. And plus, Kiss is overrated. Kanye West, the only reason he's popular is because he was sleeping with a Kardashian. So, next.
Yeah, my choice is neither. Moving on.
I go with Gary Holt, # kill the Kardashians.
Newstead or Rex Brown?
Newstead.
Yeah,
Newstead. Rex Brown was a good bassist, but Newstead, he was in Flotsam and Jetsam and
was playing some complex stuff. Yeah, Doomsday for the Deceiver.
That's a hell of an album too. Yeah, Metallica kind of fucked them over on Injustice for All.
But they made up for it on the Black Album.
Yeah, that's true.
Terry Funker's
Hi, Scott.
Oh, wait. What the hell kind of question is that? Of course, it's good old Terry. What are you talking about,
also I
Terry?
do
I'm
like.
better than you. Don't make me put you in a sleeper and put you out, you son of a bitch. If you wanted to try me, why didn't you try me? Anyways, this is interesting. Load or reload?
Reload.
Oh,
The only reason why is because the songs of Reload are a little bit stronger, even though I know why people say that's the worst. And I
mean,
will
I
defend.
love both albums for different reasons. Yeah, I said it. But, I mean, I'm only going to go with Load just because Bleeding Me was my favorite song out of both of those albums.
That song I really can't get into. Like, this was a really weird phase for Metallica, and people said they sold out. Oh, so you're selling out because it was the type of music you wanted to do? Okay then. So when they wanted to go back to thrash, they were selling out, quote unquote. Just saying. But yeah, Reload only because I think the songs are a little bit better. But I mean, they're not really that good.
I think they're good albums for what they are.
A slog to get through for me.
I mean,
objectively, you could say Load is better because there's like some strong out songs, but personally, I think
House of Jack Build, King Nothing, Bleeding Me, Outlaw Torn.
Oh, yeah. I can't stand Outlaw Torn. I just flat out hate that song.
Next up, Newstead or Cliff? It has to be Cliff, but Newstead's great in his own right.
Love Newstead, but dude, Cliff's the man. I mean, those first three albums with Metallica are absolutely legendary. You cannot deny that. Like, that's fuck, man. I thought I was the bad one, and now everyone's throwing fucking barrels of fish into a. Oh.
Death Magnetic or Hardwired. They're both great for different reasons, but by production, Hardwired.
Production-wise, Hardwired. For song structure-wise, Death Magnetic. I think Death Magnetic has more stronger songs.
Yeah, because on Death Magnetic, you had The Day That Never Comes, All Nightmare Long, Cyanide, Unforgiven 3. I like Broken Beat Scarred. That's an underrated song.
Unforgiven.
But yeah, but then again, the Hardwired, you have the title track, you have Atlas Rise, Moth in the Flame, Halo on Fire, Spit Out the Bone, Murder 1, Am I Savage?
Dream No More.
Dream No More is pretty good too. Really, there's only one weak song on Hardwired for me, and that's Man Unkind. Even though it's okay.
I didn't like Confusion. That's the thing. I feel like they should have. First of all, why was it a 2-disc? And second of all, the songs, I don't know. Like, the first half was solid, but then the second half kind of drugged down a little bit until Spit Out the Bone. I mean, arguably, that's one of Lars' best drum performances. That's not saying much. Which I don't want to shit. But I mean, come on, you can be very simplistic. I mean, let's call a spade here.
And Troy, you said it best. Yeah, both albums have aged gracefully because, lyrically, that's some of Hetfield's best lyrical writing for sure.
No doubt. And think about what was going on at the time where James's mother was dying from cancer and he didn't want to come to terms with that.
Yeah.
And they were all in the bad stage in their life. It wasn't as bad as later on, but they were still in a pretty bad
Saint Anger, yeah.
And I'm one of those people that will always defend Saint Anger because one, it was the first Metallica album I listened to, and two, there's actually some pretty good songs on there. Just the production.
There were a couple of good songs, yeah. A couple of good songs on.
Like the first half is pretty good, second half is shit.
So that's all we've gotten so far up to now. But Jeff, now that we're dead, Undertaker using that, and that was fitting. That was a fitting tune for him. Coming back on the bike.
By the way, that Bow and Your match was fucking awesome. I don't care what anybody says.
Well, even though we're kind
um,
of breaking a little bit of the episode, but most hated celebrity.
oh,
Where
all of
do I
them.
begin? Where do I begin on this? Do I want to be on here for 6 hours straight talking nothing but shit about people like Brie Larson?
We can do a whole documentary.
I'll just say for me, it's Brie Larson because I think she's a complete and utter fucking cunt, but I digress. Anyways, James or Kirk? James.
Oh.
Kirk's got great solos, but when it comes to riff writing, hands down, James.
Circle contribute. Yeah. I mean, Kurt kind of has the Kerry King, like, almost Eric Peterson-esque kind of solos where it's very
more
like,
Eric Peterson, but no, because I think Kirk has more melody to his solos than Eric and Kerry. And yeah, he can use the wah pedal too much, but at least he knows how to play feeling leads. Whereas Hetfield, when it comes to who can write the better riffs out of two, it's easily Hetfield. After all, that fucking right hand of his, the best right hand in metal.
Also, did you see the concert where James had a full-on meltdown before?
I've seen pictures of it. That was like a week or so ago.
Apparently, James was very emotional.
He was upset that he couldn't. He was upset that he was not doing the best job that he thought he could do. I guess he just wasn't happy with his performance, which I can understand.
Apparently, he was battling alcohol addiction again, which I thought he was already clean, but apparently he was battling it again, and I'm like, damn.
I haven't heard anything about that. I just heard that he just was not happy with how he was performing. But
I mean, it could be a myriad of things, but James, I doubt you're out here, but James, if you're out there, we're here for you, man. No matter how much shit y'all get, every band gets shit for good or bad. We're here for you, Papa Het.
Lemmy or Newstead, better bassist? It'd have to be Newstead, but Lemmy.
Well, if you think about it, Lemmy didn't really have a bass. It was a bass guitar, but it didn't really.
But it sounded more like a rhythm guitar.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because that was his style. He would just over distort and amplify that bass to no end.
So technically, I'm gonna go with Newstead, but if we're talking overall, I would go with Lemmy. But if we're gonna go technically,
it's Newstead. Yeah. Morbid Angel, Altars of Madness, or Possessed Seven Churches. For me, it's Altars of Madness.
I'm going to get into a Morbid Angel retrospective by the summer.
I'm doing the album ranking this week for Morbid.
I'm currently doing after retrospective, and that shit's absolutely. I just got to get through Octagon again. Can't wait for that.
Who would you rather deal with drunk, Dave Mustaine or all of Pantera? Pantera! Because Dave, back then, when he was a drunk, he was a dick. Whereas Pantera, when they were drunk, they were goofy. It's not even a contest. Not even a contest.
I was getting ready to say, I will always say Octagon is the black metal Saint Anger, and you will not change my mind.
Eric Peterson or Gary Holt?
That's not fair.
I'd have to give that to Gary just because he can do leads and riffs. Whereas Peterson's more about the riffs, but he does do solid leads now, but Gary's always been doing great leads.
Now, if it was Skolnick versus Gary, that would have been.
I would have gone Skolnick. I would have went with Skolnick.
I think he actually did that on Nick's, not a Necrotic Nick stream one time, which I think you were involved in, where I said Skolnick and Gary, and y'all just had a fucking meltdown about it. But Gary's the riff machine, dude. Listen to his shit during, especially the modern era, but the Rob Dukes era. God damn. Oh.
And more Gary Holt. Gary Holt versus Scott Ian. That one's tough because Scott's written some great riffs.
Damn. I gotta go with Gary though, because
yeah, I'd have to go with Gary.
Scott can do a whole bunch of goofy stuff. I mean, his stuff in Stormtroopers of Death.
which
But
I love.
oh yeah, that's absolutely awesome. But let's not forget the John Bush era. That I love John Bush, but that was not a good era for Anthrax. Even though
Apart from Sound of White
and We
Noise
Come
was
For You All
great,
are good albums. Sub
the others
442 and oh god, Volume 8 was
and the
so
Volume
shit.
8. And speaking of Gary and Alex, here we are, and I'm
Wow,
on Alex.
yep. God damn it.
It'd have to go Alex.
And you know what's worse is that Alex even spent some time with Sabotage after Chris Olivia passed. So that makes it even more worse. Oh.
Chuck or Jeff Becerra? Chuck.
I gotta go Chuck.
It has to be Chuck.
But with Gary and Alex, I gotta go with Alex. I love Gary, I really do, and he is the fucking riff machine, but I gotta go with Alex. God damn it.
Oh, Ricky, you dirty motherfucker. Gene Hoglan or Dave Lombardo? As much as I love Gene,
I'm going to cry.
It has to go Lombardo. Because Lombardo's the greatest of all time.
Clock versus one of the fastest thrash metal drummers of all time.
And one of the best drummers overall, too.
Yeah, Gene can throw in, but he can also do blast beats. Oh, they can both do blast beats.
Yeah, they can both do blast beats very well.
I love Mr. Gene Hoglan, but I gotta go with Dave.
Yeah,
please make another Testament album with him, please.
He probably will, since he's now pretty much set in the band full on.
I know.
And besides, think of that lineup. It's like, yeah, Gene's gone, but who would you replace him with? His godfather, Lombardo. And imagine that lineup of Lombardo, DiGiorgio, Peterson, Skolnick, and Chuck for an album. Holy shit.
God. That is a thrash metal.
Fucking jerk me off and make me ejaculate all over the walls right now. I'm ready for that album. Jason Bittner, Lombardo. That's not fair to Bittner, because even though he's great, it has to be Lombardo. But Bittner's a great drummer in his own right. I mean, Shadows Fall and Recent Overkill.
I remember when Thralls of Metal did the Slayer album ranking, and when Dave came on Christ Illusion, and John says, "I wonder what Dave would do when he take away his snare," and they're like, "Oh, he'll
no take away his ride cymbal. He'll just hit the crash harder or the hi hat."
Like when Dave just goes like full on like Sonic mode. I'm surprised the drums don't start having holes in them. Because I'm
right? Because he hits them so damn hard. He hits them so damn hard.
I'm surprised Dave wasn't in.
And then Bostaff and Lombardo again. It's Lombardo. Really, anybody against Lombardo, they lose.
I love Paul Bostaff. I mean, the stuff from
especially
Forbidden,
Testament.
His only album, A Testament and an Exodus, Shell Had a Kill Machine. Ooh. Yes, please. But I gotta go Dave, because Dave's fills are absolutely insane. It sucks how it ultimately ended with him in Slayer, but I think he has the better outcome because he's gonna be in Testament. So yay.
Well, hell, he's in a lot of bands. He's in Suicidal Tendencies, Misfits, Mr. Bungle, and Testament right now. He's a busy motherfucker.
He was in Mr. Bungle. I didn't know he was in Suicidal Tendencies, though.
Yeah, he's still in Suicidal, and he's still in Misfits as well. I mean, hell, that Misfits lineup, Danzig, Doyle, Jerry, and Lombardo, that's like a dream.
And by the way, before anyone comments, Danzig over Michael Graves, thank you.
I agree. Here's an interesting one. Current Metallica with Dave Lombardo on drums, or 80s Slayer with Hetfield on vocals and guitar? That's an interesting thought.
I gotta go with current Metallica on drum, or I gotta go current
Metallica with Lombardo on drums, because I don't know. I think Hetfield would have done fine. I think Hetfield would have done fine on vocals for Slayer and guitars, because I think that guy could play any rhythm of anything for the most part. But yeah, current Metallica with Lombardo on drums would be interesting, because could you imagine, like, as much as I love Lars, I'd love to hear how the drums would have been on Hardwired if you had Lombardo doing more fills and more kick. Like the beats could still be the same, but just doing more fills and kick drum work would have helped. Oh.
Yeah, and also
well, I made that statement. Lombardo or Peart.
Yeah, Lombardo.
Okay, this would be one of the only
Lombardo.
times. This would be one of the only times Lombardo would lose. It has to be Neil Peart. I'm sorry, because Neil Peart's a drum god.
Hey, I'll be right back.
Alrighty. I think you meant to say. I always forget that first name of the drummer of Gojira. I know it's Duplantier. Mario. It's Mario Duplantier or Joey Jordison. That's actually hard because Joey was great. But Mario, good lord, he's just a fucking rhythm master.
Oh, I gotta go, Joey. I'm still shocked that he's still no longer with us.
I know, it's crazy. I'd probably go with Jordison just because he can adapt to any style.
He can play death metal, dude. I mean, even though Slipknot's very
big and very popular, but listen to the stuff he did.
He can throw a blast.
Yeah, I mean, look at the stuff he did with Roadrunner United, doing the death metal song with Glenn Benton, playing blast beats and technical stuff. Like, the guy could play any style and do it well. So I'd probably go with Joe, even though Mario is great. But yeah.
Oh, hold on. You're back.
Son of a bitch. Let's see. Mr. Sacco. Red Rooster. Mario brings so much energy to their live shows. Not sure if Gojira would be this band they are without him. That's very true. I mean, Mario, like I said, he's a rhythm machine. But I think in terms of like complete drummers and being able to adapt, for me, it's Joey. Even though I love Mario's, especially his kick drum work.
No.
Son of a bitch. But we'll probably go on for another half hour on this and see where we go from here. Any other band versus band, album versus albums you got our way? Real quick, just to answer Taco Bell or Wendy's.
Wendy's. I love Taco Bell, but Wendy's. Okay. All right.
Oh, Scott. Ooh, this is hard. Celtic Frost or Bathory?
Ooh. Okay, which one was more influential? Oh, hold on.
I'm going to go with Celtic Frost. Just because, like, Celtic Frost, not only were they influential on extreme metal, but like black metal, death metal, thrash, even doom bands were inspired by Celtic Frost. Whereas Bathory, their influence on black metal is the strongest out of them all. Yeah. Yeah, I'm still going Celtic Frost, also because I like them more than Bathory. And yeah.
Okay, Celtic Frost or Bathory? I gotta go Bathory, only because they kind of influenced Celtic Frost. To an extent, they kind of did.
Well, then again, Hellhammer existed before Bathory.
Yeah. Okay. I got an album versus album for you.
Oh boy.
Slayer, Christ Illusion, or Metallica, Death Magnetic? Think about it. Both are underrated.
They're both underrated. I'd still probably go Death Magnetic. Even though Christ Illusion production-wise is much better. Funny, Rick Rubin did both. Which is funny.
Yeah, I know. But
yeah,
Rick Rubin, he can do heavy stuff.
He really can. I mean, Rain and Blood. Enough said.
South of Heaven. Seasons in the Abyss.
Seasons in the Abyss. Even early Danzig.
Yeah. And by the way, Christ Illusion is my third favorite Slayer album.
Pitch Shifter or Korn?
Korn, because I never heard of Pitch.
because I'm not that familiar with Pitch Shifter. Oh, here's
I
a good one.
heard of Pitch Shifter.
Battle of EPs: Mayhem, Death Crusher, Hellhammer, Apocalyptic Raids.
Well, which
I
song,
probably would go with Hellhammer.
Well, which EP has the more brutal song? I mean,
yeah, Death Crush,
that's
yeah,
fine.
with Chainsaw Guts fucked, but I think in terms of some songwriting, for me, it's Hellhammer.
Yeah.
Also, I just love how that was so influential on a lot of death metal too.
Yeah, that's true.
And plus, I'll say I don't think there would have been a Death Crush without Apocalyptic Raids. So, Megaforce Records or Nuclear Blast? I'd have to go Nuclear Blast just because they got the bigger catalog. Even though Megaforce has a legacy, I'd have to go, especially for more modern times.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, like maybe
wasn't Megaforce run by Johnny Zazula?
Yep. Basically started that label because nobody wanted to sign Metallica at the time.
Yep. Rest in peace, my good sir.
Mm-hmm.
And then, his wife passed, didn't she?
I haven't heard. But I was going to say, maybe like an eighth of my collection are albums from Nuclear Blast Records.
I would go with Nuclear Blast only because they have a bigger catalog.
Much bigger catalog, yeah.
I mean, hell, they even signed Anthem. They signed one of probably the best Japan band of all time, like the Japanese Judas Priest.
Right.
So.
Oh, Scott.
Oh, God, you hate us. Only because I listen to them more, I'm going to go with King Diamond solo. I love Merciful Fate, but I listen to King Diamond more.
Scott, I hate you.
And plus, King Diamond had Mickey D on drums.
I love both, but when it's a tie, I go to the original Merciful Fate.
That's true.
Because I think in terms of riffs, better riffs than King Diamond. Definitely musicianship was up in King Diamond solo, but in terms of riffs and just badassery, for me, it's Merciful Fate. That's still a dirty trick, though. Heaven and Hell are Back in Black.
Or, which title track is better? I gotta go Heaven and Hell. It's the first one with Ronnie, and Back in Black was the first one with Brian Johnson.
Brian. For me, in terms of musicality, it's Heaven and Hell. Back in Black's great, but yeah, it's just so overplayed.
Ricky would have picked Back in Black because that's his favorite album.
Probably would have. He probably would have. Hell, he's probably still in the trap thinking, how dare you?
You've sinned. Yeah, Heaven and Hell. Because, I mean, that 1980, that was at a period where the big NWO Beach bands were starting to pop
The Wobbin
out.
bands were coming up and basically kickstarted everything again.
Like the Saxons, the Maidens, Motorheads, Angel Witches.
And during that time, you saw bands making arguably their best albums for a while, like AC/DC, Sabbath, Whitesnake, Priest.
Yeah.
Very, very crazy time.
Motorhead. They released Ace of Spades in 1980.
Over the Mountain or Metal Gods? Over the Mountain for me. As far as a song, out of the two, it's Over the Mountain. Also, that drum intro.
I gotta go Metal Gods. I really like that song. That's one of my favorites off of British Steel.
Oh, damn it, Scott, not again.
Oh, Ace of Spades. I'm not familiar with Blizzard of Oz. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not really familiar with that album. Although Mr. Crowley is one of Ozzy's best songs. Mr. Crowley.
I know Ace of Spades won pretty much every match on the video, but the streak is broken here. I have to go Blizzard of Oz. Just because, not only because of the hits Crazy Train and Mr. Crowley, but I Don't Know, Suicide Solution, Goodbye to Romance, Revelation Mother Earth. So powerful of songs, especially Revelation Mother Earth, like hearing Ozzy croon.
Yeah, but also
Good
Ace of
God.
Spades have the title track.
I know Ace of Spades, yeah, but
arguably that's arguably Motorhead's best song.
I like Chase better than Catch More, but that's just me.
Love Me Like a Reptile, Jailbait.
Death metal or thrash metal, the other never exists. My two favorite styles.
Actually, if you think about it, thrash metal is technically can be death metal, because thrash influenced death metal. Because
so by default, I'd have to go with thrash, just because, without thrash, you wouldn't have had death metal. Without thrash, you wouldn't have had death metal, grindcore, or black metal. You wouldn't have had that. You wouldn't have had extreme metal. Well, you wouldn't have extreme metal without thrash.
Yeah, because Possessed, Seven Churches, and Death Scream Bloody Gore, even though, not really thrash. Wasn't really.
It's more proper death metal with thrash moments. Whereas like Possessed, Seven Churches is like a thrash album with death metal moments.
You can really say that on Leprosy too. I mean, Pull the Plug's a thrasher as well.
I think Leprosy is more straight up proper death metal.
Yeah,
because it's got more mid tempo to it than anything else. Like, there are thrashy moments, but it's not like thrash forward like Scream Bloody Gore was.
Yeah.
But yeah. Melvins or AC/DC? AC/DC.
I mean, Melvins, they are influential in the sludge genre.
And sludge and grunge.
Yeah, but it's AC/DC.
Kiss, AC/DC, or Led Zeppelin?
AC/DC. I mean, Led Zeppelin are good, but not great, in my opinion, and Kiss is just overrated.
Yeah. So here's what I did. The Game or King of Kings, the battle of the two Triple H theme songs from Motorhead. For me, I actually prefer King of Kings as a song more.
Carpet cleaner.
You can never beat the original, The Game.
Bark at the Moon or Creatures of the Night. So Ozzy versus Kiss, it's Bark at the Moon. Even though Creatures of the Night, that's maybe one of the best Kiss albums, because that was the heaviest Kiss album, but it's Bark at the Moon.
I mean, Bark at the Moon only because the title track. I love the title track.
And then Bark at the Moon or Ultimate Sin.
And plus, that was at a time where. That was also at a time where. Think about what the other members of Sabbath were at the time, because Dio was.
That was around the time of Born Again. Yeah.
Yeah, Born Again, which a lot of people don't like. I actually kind of enjoy it, even though Ian Gillan was kind of an odd fit for the band. I will admit that.
And the production was bad.
Well, I mean, they did blow. They did
screw up with the speakers. Yeah, but still. Illusionary Anus or Barnes sucking on his dreadlocks while talking about Volcano Insurance.
I mean, which vocal delivery is more butchered? What are you talking about?
I will gladly take the Illuminum Anus.
I think this is Ricky's way of saying screw you for not picking AC/DC. Oh, Ricky,
Jeff,
never change.
You bastard.
Oh,
you bastard.
I do like both bands. I have had a falling out with Avenged Sevenfold because I just kind of grew out of that, but I still go back to listen to them. Anthrax is a fun band. I feel like their earlier stuff feels more like punk, because I always feel like they had that punk energy with them, you know? Musically, I would go with Anthrax, but in terms of consistency, Avenged Sevenfold.
I'm actually going to go with Avenged Sevenfold on both aspects, consistency and more diverse songwriting, especially on their last album, The Stage, where they got prog and classical a lot. I'm still waiting for a follow-up to hear if they continue down that direction or even embrace more of the black metal elements that they brought in on The Stage too. See if they go down that rabbit hole. Because that's the beauty of Avenged Sevenfold. Every album's always something different. It's never the same.
Because they originally started as a more metalcore like sound, and then
more metalcore, and then they became classic metal, thrash, and then they went experimental on the White Album. Then they got dark on Nightmare. Then they went classic 70s based metal on Hail to the King, and then to prog on The Stage. So it's like every album's always something different.
Yeah, that's true.
Ozzy or Alice Cooper?
Oh no, that's not fair. I do like both, but
I love both.
I enjoy Ozzy, but I love the Alice Cooper stuff is gold in my opinion.
In terms of shows, it'd probably be Alice Cooper, but in terms of singing, Ozzy.
Even though that Alice does have that 70s blues like
delivery in his voice.
Yeah. But I gotta go Alice. I just love Alice. He's one of the best people ever, and he influenced a hell of a lot of people with the whole shock rock gimmick, like King Diamond, Marilyn Manson, and all that other stuff.
Rammstein,
yeah, he was the shock rock of the 70s, where Manson was in the 90s and King was in the
Rammstein 80s. Currently, yeah.
Mine, Tyler.
Forbidden or 13, easily 13. I don't understand why people say 13's a bad album. It's great. Just because Bill Ward's not on it doesn't mean shit.
I wouldn't call
Forbidden's terrible.
It's a great album. I think it's a solid album. The only thing I don't like is, I don't know, first of all, why do people hate the production? I think the production's pretty good.
Maybe it was a little too loud, but still.
Maybe
I prefer the production on it than Forbidden easily.
But I do like Geezer's bass. Geezer's bass, I think, is absolutely awesome because I love the bass.
And that's the second heaviest Sabbath album too, because that guitar tone.
The only things I don't like is, one, Ozzy kind of sounds auto-tuned, even though he does kind of sing his nads off.
He sang his fucking ass off on that song in that lower range.
I don't like Brad Wilk's strumming. It sounds like he wants to be Bill Ward, but he just fails, and it just does nothing for me. There's some good songs. There's some really good songs. God is Dead, Zeitgeist,
End of the Beginning, Loner, Zeitgeist, Damaged Soul, Dear Father. I'm actually thinking about getting the I'm actually thinking of getting the expanded version to get the bonus tracks.
Methodemic, yes,
that song, because I need to get that song. And then Forbidden, fuck that album. Anyways, Iced Earth or Demons and Wizards? Iced Earth, easily. Demons and Wizards is cool, but Iced Earth is Iced Earth.
I mean,
fucking
the Barlow era, except for the second Something Wicked album, Gold. I love the Ripper Owens era.
Burnt Offerings is my favorite still. Dark Saga, Horror Show, even the first two.
Something Wicked this weekend. Yeah, the first two were good, even though the vocal, like especially the first one, the
different vocals on each album, yeah.
But I mean, once Burnt Offerings hits, I mean that title track alone is one of the darkest.
And Dante's Inferno, one of the best metal songs of the '90s.
One of the
16-minute epic.
Ever.
Yeah,
that is a prime example of being power, thrash, progressive, and symphonic done right.
Yeah,
you can't change my mind.
Better album cover, Power Slave or Master of Puppets. They're both great, but it'd have to be Power Slave just because of that Egyptian theme.
I mean, Master is good because of the graveyard and the hand strings and all that stuff.
And the army helmet and dog tag on one of the crosses.
Yeah. Now, if you would say which title track is better, I would have to go Master.
Master.
And I mean, Power Slave features my favorite Maiden song in 2 Minutes to Midnight because it's the first ever Maiden song I listened to. Hooray!
Trivium, Avenged Sevenfold, or Bullet for My Valentine. Avenged Sevenfold for me. Now, my thing with Trivium, like Ember 2 Inferno through Shogun, perfect run. Then they tapered off within Waves. Then they hit rock bottom with Vengeance Falls. Picked back up with Silence in the Snow. And then from Sin to Sins to the last album, they're back on top again. In the Core of the Dragon, they're back to being great again. Whereas Bullet, like, first 2 albums, really good, especially Scream Aim Fire, because they got much more thrashy and more classic metal. Then their third album, meh, and then Temper can fuck right off. And then really ever since, they just have not recovered. So,
Avenged. I mean, again, I was at my like metalcore like phase and all that stuff. I did enjoy Trivium. I thought Matt Heffy was a pretty solid vocalist, and I think
and great guitar work in that band too.
Yeah, Drowning in the Sound. That's just a thrasher through. Yeah. And I overall I would say Avenged Sevenfold because I just like their overall musicality a little bit better.
Yeah. 80s Pantera or hell yeah.
80s.
I'm only going 80s Pantera again because of power metal.
Yeah, we'll be fine.
Pretty much. Triptykon or Bathory?
Bathory.
I mean, all three of Triptykon's releases, the 2 albums and the EP are great, but it's gotta be Bathory.
I mean, isn't Tom Gabriel Warrior on Triptykon?
Yeah, that was basically the band he started after Celtic Frost broke up, and it's essentially a continuation of Monotheist.
Move that table out of there.
Oh.
Sorry about
that. But also, like, yeah, Triptykon's essentially the continuation of the final Celtic Frost album, Monotheist, that gothic death doom style, and it's sweet. Five Finger Death Punch or Psycho Center. I'm gonna state openly, I don't want to pick either, and I'm not picking either.
Okay, before Five Finger went way overboard with the mainstream, their earlier stuff I will agree is pretty good.
Their first 2 albums were good, yeah.
Psycho Center,
but after
is just it's the drummers. Jeremy Spencer's weird sexual fantasy band. All you devil daddies out there.
Like Five Fingers first 2 albums were good, and then after that they've just completely sucked.
To quote Necrotic Nick on the stream one time, why would I want to listen to 7 albums of trash in a single day?
Right.
God.
Oh, God.
Oh, my God. Okay, I'm only going to say this. Limp Bizkit only because they have some decent songs. Nickelback can just go suck one. Because Limp Bizkit, if you think about it, they have some good songs. Fred Durst is so douchey. That's it. And well, so is Chad Kroger. And I feel bad for every member of the band. That's the deal with him. I mean, you could say the same for Fred.
Wes a good guitarist, and he was just wasted. He was just wasted in Limp Bizkit. But, yeah. I guess if I had to pick, I'll go Limp Bizkit just out of nostalgia for Rollin'. Just because I was Undertaker's theme for a while. That's really it.
And I did enjoy my and Build a Bridge. I really like Build a Bridge because that was the Survivor Series 03 theme. That was one of the only good things on that show.
Yeah.
Got stocks. Mother had stocks in Mall Bell. He's got stocks now.
But yeah, that's a nasty one.
You're hurting my feelings, guys. Come on. Give us some good ones.
And then Troy says, 13 has similar issue to Death Magnetic, too loud and compressed, but musically it's awesome. Yeah, both produced by Rick Rubin, yeah. Yeah, that's really the only, like, legit argument I could make of why 13 would be a lesser ranked album is because of production, but musically I thought it was top 10, no problem, for me at least. But it is what it is.
Yeah, that's true.
And also, I wouldn't mind getting that The End EP with those other extra songs that they had in the sessions that didn't make the album. But that EP is so rare to find because it was limited.
Was that the first ever EP they actually did?
I think it's the only EP they ever did. 2016.
That is absolutely amazing. I don't even think Maiden or Priest made an EP.
Actually, to Metal Archives I go to find out. No, Maiden did have mostly singles for EPs, but as far as like proper EPs, they had one called Live and One in 1980, which was mainly a Japanese release.
Oh.
Then they did one in 2004 called No More Lies, where they had the song No More Lies as well as orchestral and electronic versions of a couple of tracks from Dance of Death.
Less said about that. The less said about that album, I just don't like that album.
I like Dance of Death. It's just the album covers. Let me see for Priest.
Because I know Motorhead made a couple EPs that I do know, but I don't think Priest ever did.
Well, Priest actually has had 3 EPs out in the last 8 years. 5 Souls and then Grinder Snakebite. Well, it's Grinder Snakebite. That was just for
wasn't that for Redeemer?
British Steel. That was for British Steel, and then they had a Japanese EP of a couple tracks from Firepower, but 5 Souls, I think that was an EP of like the bonus tracks from Redeemer. So God,
I can't pick because I haven't listened to both, but I really want to.
I'm gonna go with Surgical Steel just because that's maybe my favorite Carcass album. Maybe.
Also,
I have such a connection with that.
Just out of curiosity, the reason why I'm like moving around is because I'm at my grandparents' house right now. So if you're hearing talking in the background, I'm not haunted. At least I don't think I am. I'm not the first ever 6 Feet Under album. Trust me. Torture the bone. Oh, Barnes.
Surgical Steel, best comeback album I've ever heard. It's definitely one of the best comeback albums ever. Actually, you know what? That just gave me an idea for an upcoming video thread. I might start 10 great metal comeback albums.
There you go. Or
Troy, you just gave me an idea for a video next week.
Either that, or you could have done that for probably another Horseman podcast. Which, when are they coming, by the way? No, I'm just kidding.
I know. Yeah, it's been.
No, I get it. You, Ricky, Arthur, Hannah,
and Raphael. Well, Arthur, Raphael, and Hannah are always busy, while Ricky and we could do it at any time, but it just feels like we do too short of an episode with just 2 people. Well, actually, and then also we still do have 3 episodes planned. The interview with Jeremy from Broken Hope, which I need to get a hold of him on Twitter again. Then getting James from Hellripper back for a top 10 episode, and then Gunnar from Blood Red Throne for a top 10. It's just that Gunnar is busy doing a Norwegian tour right now with Blood Red Throne, and then James, he's just been doing like one-off shows every weekend while also working on the new Hellripper album, which I can't wait to hear because Hellripper fucking rules.
Yeah, I need to get into that because I've heard nothing but great things. Yeah.
But yeah. And Ricky's like, we'll be back.
Yeah, comeback albums, I can name about 5 off the top of my head. Exodus, Tempo of the Damned. That's a hell of a comeback album. I thought that's my second favorite of the Zetro era. The Candlemass self-titled album, because they haven't made an album in 6 years because they just got out of the 90s. Their last ever album, Return of Messiah McCullen, who was basically the voice during
the real voice of Candlemass, yeah.
Until Lundqvist came back for The Door to Doom, which is a fucking awesome album too. By the way,
Maiden Brave New World would be up there.
The big one for me is Angel Retribution by Priest. Because that was the comeback. Because
because Alfred came back, after the Ripper era.
Which, again, I will defend the Ripper era, probably only because the first Ripper album.
Jugulator, let's Anthrax worship music would be in the mix, except Blood of the Nations would be in there for me.
Yes,
because I'll say right now, as much as like Restless and Wild and Balls to the Wall are so loved, and those are great albums.
Russian Roulette.
I honestly think their recent work is better than their classic era stuff for me, because Mark Tornell is a much better singer. He sounds like a mix of Udo and Brian Johnson.
Well, yeah, because they were kind of influenced by AC/DC. Kind of. In the way, they're kind of like the German AC/DC. In terms of
I would say, in terms of vocals, in terms of music, they're like the German Judas Priest.
Yeah,
in terms of music, because they got the proper mix of
the German,
AC/DC. Yeah, because it's like musically they're able to mix like classic metal and like some speedy, almost thrashy stuff, kind of like Priest.
Speed neoclassical because of Herman Frank and
Wolf Hoffman.
Wolf Hoffman, yeah.
Trying to think of some other comebacks. Oh yeah, Monotheist, Celtic Frost would be in there too.
What's another
Testament, one? Formation of Damnation.
Yes, that's another one. That's the modern era is one of the best in Testament's catalog, in my opinion. This one really isn't a comeback album, but in terms of a comeback album for the whole band, Slayer's Christ Illusion, even though
Death Magnetic Metallica would be in that same
Metallica because it was a return to form.
Creator Violent Revolution, because that was after they were out of their industrial goth phase of the 90s.
I would have gone and say Dissection Reign Chaos, but that album sucks. I
don't think it's bad. It's just you just could not top the first two. Alice in Chains, Black Gives Way to Blue, hands down would be in my list.
Yeah, that too. It doesn't have Lane because Lane passed in 2002, but the spirit is still.
But William Duvall is solid replacement, but yeah, Jerry Cantrell definitely takes over the bulk of the vocals. Other comebacks.
Broken Hope, maybe, if they release a new album.
Yeah. Well, they did come back in 2013 with Omen of Disease after they had that mediocre Grotesque Blessings album, and then breaking up in 2002, and then Joe passed in 2010, and then they came back. So yeah, I would say yes, Omen of Disease would be in there too, because that was a great album. Obituary Frozen in Time, I don't know.
I was just getting ready to say that one. That's
I need to listen to that one for me to make an opinion. Cynic, Traced in Error, yeah.
That's Music, Brave New World, yeah. There's a lot.
There's so many. Like, I'll have to like really boil it down whenever I do that video next week. I'm trying to think of more. Heaven and Hell would be a comeback because they first one with Dio, and after two stinkers.
Well, also to be fair, they were kind of floundering because they didn't know what direction because of all the drugs and alcohol and all that stuff, and Ozzy leaving the band so many times. I mean, he was in and out of the band.
How could I forget this one? How could I forget the new Possessed?
New Possessed.
New Nocturnus AD that came out in 2019. That was fucking brilliant. Basically, the Key Part 2 that we never got until now.
I was just afraid to make a joke about Ozzy being in the band so many times. It's like Sonny getting in and out of a jail cell. She can't make up her mind. Oh wait, she can make up her mind because she's going to be in jail permanently. Good.
Right. Let's see. Trying to think of some more.
I mean, Entombed, kind of.
With Uprising, yeah.
Well, that ain't Entombed AD technically, but it's a different band.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, because yeah, you had LG and you had a couple other members, but it's not the full Entombed band.
Yeah. Oh, another one, Gorguts Colored Sands. I forgot about that one too.
Yeah.
I have that album too. I need to get all the Gorguts stuff.
So what kind of choice are you making?
Other ones?
I mean, I don't know how you feel about this album, but Souls to Deny by Suffocation.
That's for me one of the weaker Suffocation albums.
Maybe the
Yeah,
self-titled
please.
was more of a comeback album, maybe.
Yeah. Or more appropriately for me, Pinnacle of Bedlam.
I heard that's a really good album.
I actually just ordered that today. I went on Night Shift merch and I ordered that, Faith No More, Angel Dust, and Mayhem Death Crush. So that's another order coming in soon. I actually got 2 more CDs coming tomorrow. And those are Necrophobic, Mark of the Necrogram, and Cannibal Corpse, Butchered at Birth.
This one's a bit of a stretch, but Enemy of the Music Business, My Napalm Death, where they went
Yes,
back to
I would agree
grinding.
on that. I would agree on that.
Because
one.
okay, Fear, Emptiness, Despair, I don't think it's a bad album.
I think that's a really good one, but yeah, definitely
But then
not quite
Diatribes, Inside
there.
the Torn Apart, Words from the Exit Wound, they were really struggling through the late 90s. Where the early 90s, grindcore, gore grind, death metal, brutal death,
Mhm.
they were king. Like that stuff was untouchable, but then
Yeah, like Harmony Corruption and Utopia Banished.
yeah,
Yeah.
they really struggled. Like even Cannibal Corpse to an extent because they lost Barnes and
Even though I love Vile, Gallery of Suicide wasn't
Vile's
that great.
bit meh.
But then Bloodthirst was really cool.
Ugh,
I still love Vile so much. In fact, if I were to rank Cannibal Corpse, that'd be my number 2. I just have always had a soft spot for Vile. But no, like
this
Bloodthirst was awesome. But then again, Cannibal's another band that I don't feel has ever had a bad album.
Yeah, they're kind
So-
of like the Motorhead of death metal, where they're vastly consistent. They can have a couple meh albums, but they don't have a flat out god awful album.
Might be a controversial one, but it was only 4 years from their last, but the self-titled Flotsam and Jetsam from 2016. Yeah. Yeah.
Flotsam and Jetsam is a band that I really wanted to get into, but their 90s stuff I'm really struggling to get through because I do like Doomsday for the Deceiver, fantastic.
That's
album.
a classic. That's
Classic
a classic.
No
which
Place
I
for
need to get.
Grace, solid album. I think it's
Solid
good.
follow-up.
When the Storm Calls is kind of eh. Quattro, I think, is kind of cool because it's got the groove metal, grunge experimentation. And then Drift comes, and that is just a boring album. It's not good. High is okay, I guess. And then Natural Selection. I mean, what the hell is that album cover? Why is the dog fighting an ant the size of a dog? I don't know.
I think I figured out another comeback album. Well, where is it? Oh yeah, Incantations, Vanquish and Vengeance, when they were absent for 6 years, and they came back and just put out a beast of an album mixed by Dan Swano.
Mr. Dan Swano, of course. Sepultura, Dante 21. That's what
I would for me. Quadra was awesome.
I
don't know.
Though I will argue that is one of the best modern thrash albums because it's prog, thrash, and doom mixed in this beautiful bowl of just perfection. I love that album.
Yeah. Well, actually, since I've run out, and actually, since we haven't gotten any new matchups. I guess that's actually going to do it for this stream. So we went 2 hours, so we went pretty well for a lot of these. So thank you guys who tuned in to watch, and thank you, boss, for hopping on with me for some of this. But this could end up being a weekly thing every so often, possibly, because since Master of Metallum's done for a little while, gotta have something new to do now. So this could be the new thing.
So pissed I was not able to join Metallum. I
season
so
3
mad.
coming up. Season 3 coming up, and we're going for new matchups and new guests. Wow, my voice cracked horribly there. But anyways, I shall see you all next time, and on Tuesday for a new episode of Under the Radar, where Jesus Christ, I've got a lot of albums to listen to for this week. And then later this week, it's Morbid Angel album ranking. And until then, see ya.